Well, hello. Good morning. It is about 0750. I am back at home base after doing some international travel. Health-wise, feeling okay. Actually, quite a bit better. I think some hyperbaric effects might have helped. Um, got a little tailbone injury going on from some action-related activities. Uh, but on a positive upswing on the health side. So I just wanted to share that because I do share my health complaints, or I just try to just health status. It's a big part of life when you are in chronic pain. So I did want to mention the positive things as well as the negative things. Um, did try to record a video on my mobile system, a little GPD uh, palm top kind of thing. The mic was actually surprisingly good in a room, but not so good around the wind and the waves. So I made a little response video and had a couple of requests well, the audio was bad, so to redo it. Again, the wind and the waves. But it was a good test. I just did it right through the internal mic because the internal mic was actually sounding pretty good. I'll probably just switch to mobile. I'm working on a mobile system now that I'm able to be a little more mobile and travel around a little bit. Uh, so re-upping the computer technology, the electronic information appliances. Maybe try. I use some little Tozo earbuds. I like the Tozos because I can don't cry tears if they get lost or damaged because I do tend to be around when active around some environment. So I'm feeling a lot better about that. But the response video was there is a internet personality which has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think I've covered them in the past. I was actually blocked at one point. I guess I would assume I still am, um, because I just made not a response video. It wasn't a disagreement. I just made it on the same subject from a different time perspective, a different age generation perspective, and they didn't seem to like that at all. Uh, I don't know why. It was very neutral content. It was just about the early internet, and I'm somewhat older than them, probably I don't know 10 or 12 years. So my experience with the early internet predates theirs, and I think they like to be authority and consider themselves an OG, as they like to say. So they probably didn't like somebody that had more experience or different experiences, earlier experiences. Um, Somebody who's much younger could have more experience and probably do because they're maybe online more than I am. Um, but they've been pretty mean to some people. And they comment a lot on other content creators quite negatively or critically, and talk about kind of monitoring the situation and lamenting about the internet and where that goes and social media and all these things. So I'm doing likewise, which seems completely fair. I would like to foster a more positive environment on the internet and on in these social media type things. I originally just have YouTube or had YouTube account as sharing with family and friends. Like I think it might have originally been designed for that sort of a I don't know, MySpace or Facebook of video where you get to share, YouTube, you get to share your content more of like kind of a Dropbox with your family and friends, small um, small creators, small non-professional, just as a way of sort of emailing video, essentially, or just contacting, peer-to-peer kind of feel. Not necessarily in the distribution technology as a peer-to-peer network, but peer-to-peer in terms of a social network as opposed to a parasocial broadcast. Uh, but it definitely seems to have morphed that way. Um, so I might have a little different perspective. But I noticed that they're trying to make a living off of YouTube and being a content creator, as they call it, as people call it. Uh, but they mentioned some struggles. But looking at how they approach things, I have some misgivings about because they're mean, and that's not internet that I would like to say. In fact, they themselves mention uh, mention this. Well, they talk a little bit,
Hi everybody, it's your best friend Mouse. I've tried to record this video 4 or 5 times.
which is funny. Their tagline is, of course, your best friend, but they've mentioned that they don't want social relationships, friendship, and it seems like a very strange juxtaposition considering what else they say.
Live streamer. Um, Sometimes I get emotional about it because, as I've talked many times on this channel, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I know things I can be doing to make things better for me as a
Fine.
streamer, but instead I'm very hard-headedly being myself
Oh,
and not caving into like catering to certain aspects of
this is
changing
important.
my personality or being different that would make me more accessible to people. For instance, I know I'm an asshole.
Right
I know
there.
I can be
Right there. They they say she says again. Apologies if I'm using the wrong pronouns. Uh, they mention they're gender fluid, so that can change. But they're an asshole, and they don't want to change that. Well, that's. I mean, I think that's a major problem with that channel in particular, and in parts of internet culture in general. Back in the day, in the early to mid '80s, even. There was, I think that's when we first started seeing it on mini frames and mainframes that, the internet ran on, or even outside the internet, you'd get these mainframes that were kind of localized networks to universities and whatnot. And, you'd get the SIGs, special interest groups, and, request for comment communications and very essentially kind of text chat type system, some real time, some not. And I think the anonymity to a certain extent, or even if it's not anonymous, the fact that it's just words on a screen would tend to dehumanize people. It would tend to could excuse me tend to dehumanize and make people a little meaner. Um, and I think that was a misstep, and maybe it would do that, but you could rein it in, and it wasn't celebrated that you were an asshole. Sometimes in the technical fields there are people get it kind of got up in their heads and insular and that kind of thing, so it can happen, but I don't think anybody celebrated that they were an asshole like we have here, which is, making it, by their own admission, a central part of their character. Uh,
very stern and mean to people. Either they're off
right there. Very stern and mean to people. That's part of their personality that they're um, not willing to change or buffer. They mentioned, they want to, they don't want to do that to uh, be more accessible to people. That's just society. That's just living with other people in the world. But to actually want to be, if not want to be mean, except they're just mean to people, that they're just mean, and not looking to change that, to just not be mean. And then, um, yeah, it's just disturbing.
oftentimes moments in my stream where people are just like, "Why'd you yell at that person?" And it's just my personality.
Notice the nervous laugh there. If you'll notice, this YouTuber laughs a lot, but it's always, it's often after something they say that I think they're uncomfortable with themselves. Uh, and it's almost a way of mitigating uh, something that's, well, I hate to use the term, it so gets overused, problematic. Mitigating something that's they know is sort of, well, for lack of a better term, shitty. Uh,
And I don't feel bad about it.
well, that's a problem. To not feel bad about being an asshole, I think, is antisocial. That may be why they use the term parasocial a lot. They misuse it quite a bit, I think. Um, but they want. I think there's just a need there to have a asymmetrical power um, relationship where they're top dog, uh, and they are unassailable. I did. They mentioned whenever they see somebody they think is acting quote unquote weird, which is strange because they also say that they're a weirdo and uh, sort of other themselves from the quote unquote normies. Um, that they will immediately go and look at the offending party's social media history and see, get a profile idea. Well, I did the same thing and found a couple of things. I found a screen capture of I believe it was a tweet that they made that said, "I deserve only praise." Uh, it looks like it may have been a few years old, but that seems to be, I contend, still the case, where they want to have a curated environment, which is why they stay within their stream. They can block and but that they can, well, for really it's sort of a localized power system like a warlord. Uh, you hear about in underdeveloped countries where a warlord will take over local power. They may not be the government power, but they're the local power, and they can punch down because they have an asymmetrical power relationship with their audience, and uh, they can be mean to their audience, and the audience can't do anything about it. And if someone takes exception to that and fires back, they're immediately um, blocked or banned or what have you. And then I've noticed that this user will sometimes make a video disparaging that person who dared have a difference of opinion. In fact, I found in that um, looking at social media, because they mentioned people are free to put up clips and whatnot of their previous history, and they're posting their previous social media content. I did find a video that I don't have really the facility to download it, um, where they were playing a game called Sea of Thieves, and this person, the host was our mouse was Scraps of Mouse was. It looked like it was sort of spawn camping, where you wait outside an area where new users come in, new players come in, and it was picking them off. Well, then what looked to be a fairly facile player, fairly experienced player, or somebody with some ability, came in and jumped on their ship and did FPS combat moves and cleaned Mouse's clock. Uh, and Mouse became very irate, and at one point uh, was taking part of that stream and was threatening to, "I'm going to put it up and have basically sort of call their audiences, and I'll expose you as the asshole to my audiences, and my audience will, um, heap scorn upon you." Well, the guy didn't care and posted it on his own channel, and um, Mouse put a copyright strike up on him. Uh, Again, I think that just points to the fact that they need a very highly curated environment where they can control the conditions. And why that's a problem, I think, is again, it creates that asymmetric power relationship. And as they point out, they are mean.
I just know that it's the whole you get more. I'm not a typical VTuber. I'm not a girl. I'm not playing the simp game.
I don't think being polite, or at least not being an asshole, has anything to do with simping or being a girl or anything like that. That's just normal social comportment, getting along with the world.
Uh, if I feel like shitting on someone, I'm gonna do it because it's funny to me.
There we go. Oh, notice the laugh again. Uh, I think again they know it's, well, a shitty thing to do, and I'll shit on people because it's funny to me. And it does, I think it does reinforce the premise that they are, in fact, an asshole. I think that would be fairly true.
But it's very off-putting to the lonely male VTuber demographic or VTuber sim demographic who,
That's who that's who they say finds being shed upon, being shitty to um, for comment for because it entertains them. Uh, I shit on people because I think it's funny, and who finds that off-putting? Lonely. And notice the first it's the male simps, and then or what is it? The males, and then the male simps. It's simps are the people that find being an asshole is off-putting. So it's kind of a form of victim blaming. I think it's uh, putting an identity on a negative identity uh, for mockery and scorn on people who think that being an asshole is just inappropriate and off-putting, as they put it. That they're simps. That they're it's the lonely guys. A little sexist. Again, I'm not a girl. It's these lonely simp guys that are off put by asshole behavior.
doesn't want to hear a female voice person calling them dumb for saying dumb shit.
Now, that's an extension of that. Again, it's framing people, stereotyping them in a very negative fashion, and it's downright that's just downright sexist. Um, Putting the fact that they don't accept someone being an asshole in the presenter's own words, they that these simps and these lonely men don't uh, don't accept someone being an asshole because it's from a female perspective. It's from a female voiced person um, would make any difference in telling them that they're being dumb. Now they say for notice they beg the question. Uh, Telling them that they're dumb for saying dumb stuff or was it stupid stuff. Um, that begs the question that what they said was stupid in the first place. Just that there's just that assumption. That's what begging the question is framing it so that um, leadingly we just assume that to be true. So, similar to when did you stop beating your wife? It's the it's just assuming that the allegation of wife beating is even true in the first place, is even meritorious in the first place. A lot of what I've seen people say on their channel isn't stupid, even if there's a room for disagreement. And there's many things that the presenter has just been factually wrong about, and they get pretty sensitive when somebody calls out the fact that they're factually wrong. And those people who call out the facts tend to get summarily banned.
It's just who I am. I used to feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about who I am anymore. I just know it makes it harder for me to like develop the kind of audience I want.
Well, I think it would make it hard to develop any kind of audience, or at least of size. They do mention they want to be a large social media personality. In fact, looking back at their social media, like they do when they find someone they don't agree with or have some sort of again find acting weird, they go and they research them. Well, I did find a years old post where they talked about, gosh, probably 2012, where they talked about wanting to be, God forbid, an e-celebrity. So this has been going on for over a decade, almost probably 15 years, uh, that they want to be famous, essentially. But that's going to be maybe a little more difficult when they're the face of it and they knowingly uh, are an asshole to people. And like they say, like to shit on people because it's funny. Uh, I suppose it's possible, but it's not quite the insult comedy where everyone is sort of in on the joke in a roast. Uh, so it's a little bit different. Like they say, they're just mean. Um, so I think they're fighting two masters or serving two masters there, but by that nature, I suppose, fighting two masters as well. Um, yeah, so that's going to be a problem for them. So it's a little difficult to hear them complain about not succeeding in a popularity industry when they sabotage themselves by alienating an audience, large swaths of an audience. They mentioned, I think they had blocked something like, I don't know, 400 people, somewhere hundreds and hundreds of people. Uh, and I think the audience, they mentioned the audience that they want. Well, they make fun of simps, but essentially it seems like they want sycophants, people who just give approval. Again, there's a post of theirs that said, I deserve only praise. Well, that's pretty much simping. Yeah, so it's I think they have a bit of a cognitive dissonance there.
Um, I know it's gonna be a long road. uh,
Again with the laugh, and it's on a I think something that makes them uncomfortable there about the long road because they've mentioned they want immediate success before, and have complained that they've been at something for say months, with their new every time they have a new project, and um, I think that probably is why there's the uncomfortable laugh.
anyways, it's been good. The streams have been fun. It just sucks that there's like so much dead air and downtime. Once again, things that I know that I can be doing. I can change things up and do things differently. It's funny. One of the things that a lot of people talk to me about is like, why don't you game more? And I said this like I already have I already have so few people show up to the stream, stick around, hang out, want to talk, let alone like gaming.
Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Again, they're just kind of worried about their raw numbers. But if you alienate an audience, that's going to happen. Anyway, I did just want to get that off my chest because I talked to a couple people wrote in that about their experiences and how they're somewhat cruel and mean, and it's just um, not the world I would like to see going forward. And the people I think that they, as they say, shit on because they think it's funny, uh, do either. And I think that a lot of the audience that they lose um, probably feel similarly. I think at least there's a contingent of people that don't particularly like it when people are assholes and mean and stern, as they say. Um, yeah, and so that's why I comment on it. And again, this user, Mouse, Scraps of Mouse, comments on other um, content creators and talks about how they're shitty people and so forth. So I think that's a fair game for that. Yeah, so it's just something I've kind of noticed, and they're a smaller content creator, but it looks like they've started this cycle over and over and over. Um, so it's constant promotion of that kind of environment and something that I thought I'd uh, I thought I'd comment on. Anyway, yeah, it's just what it is. It's disappointing, I think, and continuing forth with my little rambles, uh, I'll try to stay positive. Uh, through the pain that I'm having, but things are getting better. So I'm going to follow that upswing and try to be positive. Will I comment on things that are negative critically? Sure. I'm not going to try to be an asshole about it, and I'm not going to contact those people. And certainly, like they say in their chat or whatever they're using, they're directly mean to people and shit on them because they think it's funny. I'm not going to do that. That's not the world I want. So anyway, hey, thanks for listening. And it was just an interesting exploration, and I will continue on with my day. I've got to unpack from travels and kind of get the world reset before tomorrow. Uh, and lots of chaos, but don't want to take up the rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening.